Dear students, I welcome you all for third period of ninth standard first chapter. The chapter name is Matter Around Us. Dear students, so far we have studied different properties of solids, different properties of liquids, different properties of gases in the previous periods. Is it not? So, we have also studied the state of matter can be changed from one state to another state. With the help of ice cube, we have conducted an experiment. If you take ice cube in a beaker, if you heat the ice cube converts into water. Is it not? Then when you continue the heating, the water converts into water vapor. This we have studied in the last period. So, in general, it is so. But there are exceptions. There are some materials like camphor, curpura, and another chemical we are using in the laboratory, that is ammonium chloride. These substances have some special properties. What is the speciality of them? If they are in the solid state, if you apply heat, these substances, take for example, we have taken camphor in a spatula and we are heating camphor in with the help of spirit lamp. The solid camphor crystal is directly converts into gaseous form without entering into the liquid state. Generally what happens, if you heat solid, the solid first it has to come to liquid state, then only it has to go to gaseous state. But it is not so in case of camphor, or it is not so in case of ammonium chloride. These substances, they are in the solid state. If you supply heat, they convert directly into gaseous state without entering into the liquid state. Such substances are called sublimable substances, and the process is called sublimation. So, what is sublimation? It is a process, it is a change of state directly from solid state to gaseous state without changing into or without coming into liquid state, that is called sublimation. So, next we have so far studied the change of state from solid to liquid, from liquid to gaseous state, or vice versa among the matters. So, in this period we are going to study whether the pressure play any role in changing of the state of matter. Yes, because we have taken some gases. How the particles are there in the gas? The particles in the gas are apart from each other, they are away from each other. So, by applying pressure, we can bring them together, we can bring them nearer. So, if you bring the gas particles nearer, then the gaseous state disappears and they acquire liquid state, they come to the liquid state. So, if you apply pressure continuously on the liquid, then the same liquid converts into solid. So, dear students, by applying pressure we can change the state of matter. We have converted gas into liquid by applying pressure, and we have changed liquid into gaseous by applying pressure. So, you might have seen the dry ice used to preserve the medicines. The veterinary doctor brings a white box. If you open the lid, then a smoke like what is called a smoky substance, vapor, comes out of the box. You have seen. This is because to preserve the medicines in a low temperature, they have used dry ice. Then what is the dry ice? We have seen ice, but what is this dry ice? Dry ice is nothing but a ice-like substance that is prepared by applying pressure on carbon dioxide gas. So, if you take carbon dioxide gas, apply pressure, the molecules of carbon dioxide, they come nearer and nearer, then they convert into liquid carbon dioxide. If you apply pressure, this liquid carbon dioxide can be changed into gaseous, solid. So that solidified carbon dioxide is called dry ice. Then dear students, you have observed another, or you have observed and you have studied another principle, that is called evaporation. Let us study what is evaporation. So what is the difference between evaporation and boiling? So in both the cases, both in evaporation and in boiling, the particles which are in the liquid state, or matter which are in the liquid state, converts into gaseous state in both the cases. But boiling takes place at certain definite temperature. That temperature is called boiling point. If any liquid, water or any other liquid, if they convert from liquid state to gaseous state below this boiling point, then it is called evaporation. For example, you wash the clothes. The clothes get wet. So to make the wet cloth dry, we are going to spread it over. We spread over some objects. Is it not? So when you spread, after some time the wet cloth gets dried up. The process is called evaporation. Why do we call it as evaporation? Why it is not boiling? It is not boiling because we have not heat the substance at its boiling point. The evaporation is the process of changing the water from liquid state to gaseous state below the boiling point. Then it is called evaporation. So during evaporation, what mechanism takes place? That let us study now. We know all matters are made up of particles. These particles, they are in continuous motion. In the solid, the movement of particles is least because the particles are very closely packed. And this motion of particles can be observed in case of liquid because in a liquid, particles are loosely arranged. So we have a beaker full of water. So the water particles, they are in continuous motion. This is called zigzag movement, a random motion of liquid particles. If they are moving, they must have kinetic energy, because all moving objects have kinetic energy. If it is so, the water molecules, if they are moving in a continuous motion, then they must also have kinetic energy, is it not? But the kinetic energy is not uniform throughout the water. The kinetic energy is more in the surface than in the center. So the particles which are present at the surface of the water have more kinetic energy. So with more kinetic energy they are moving. So next, what happens when this kinetic energy is uniform? Very few number of water vapors escape from the surface of water. But if the temperature is supplied, if the beaker full of water is kept in the sunlight, or wet cloth is spread to the sunlight, then what happens? The heat energy which is received by the particles increase their kinetic energy. So when the kinetic energy is more than the force of attraction with which the particles are held together, then with that higher kinetic energy, the particles are escaped from the surface of water. So this is called evaporation. So this is the mechanism of evaporation. I have explained how the evaporation takes place. Evaporation is a continuous process. It takes place at every temperature. Even during the cold day or during the winter, then also evaporation is there. Evaporation can also be observed in the summer also, but the rate of evaporation may vary from season to season. So this is how evaporation takes place. Let us study what are the external factors which affect the rate of evaporation. So you know what is evaporation? Evaporation is the particles of water, liquid, they converts it to gaseous state. So the first effect which we are going to study is the rate of evaporation increases with increase of surface area. So this can be explained with an example. For example, you have a wet cloth. You have to get it dry. What generally you do? You spread the wet cloth over a hanger or over any thread, or you might have spread it over over some objects. Okay. So as you spread the cloth, it gets dried up very easily, very quickly. If you crumple the cloth, then keep it somewhere. It may take many days to evaporate. So to get evaporation more, or to get the cloths dried up very easily, then we have to spread over. Otherwise, it takes long time for drying. So with this example, we can say the rate of evaporation increases when the surface area for evaporation is increased. The next point, or the next factor that affects the rate of evaporation is temperature. The rate of evaporation increases with increasing temperature. This is very simple. If the temperature, atmospheric temperature is more, the cloths dry quickly. If the atmospheric temperature is low, then the cloth takes long time to dry. So it shows that the rate of evaporation increases with increasing temperature. Then let us study how humidity means amount of water vapor in the atmospheric air. The amount of water vapor in the atmospheric air is called humidity. So the rate of evaporation increases with decrease in humidity. If humidity is more, evaporation is less. If humidity is less, then evaporation is more. See, during rainy season, the atmospheric air contains large amount of water vapor, or the humidity is more during the rainy season. Then the humidity of air is less during the summer. During summer, the air is almost dry. It contains very less amount of water vapor. So tell me, when the wet cloth dry more quickly, whether it dry quickly during the winter or during the summer? Yes, it dries very easily during the summer, because during summer water vapor amount in the air is very less, or humidity is very less. Because air has some capacity to hold water vapors. It cannot hold more than that limit. So if air is already contains sufficient amount of humidity, water vapor, then it cannot absorb no more water vapor. So during rainy season, when the humidity of the atmosphere is more, the cloths take long time to dry up. The next concept is the rate of evaporation increases with increasing wind speed. So while wiping the floor with wet cloth, to get the floor dry quickly, generally we use fan. So if you use fan, the floor gets dried up very easily. This is because fan increase the wind speed, because after evaporation the water vapor gets into atmosphere, atmospheric air. So if the air current or air speed, wind speed is more, then the diffusion of the water vapor will be more. When there is more diffusion, the more and more water vapors are evaporated from the surface of material in which the water vapors are present. So this is another factor that also affect the rate of evaporation. So with this knowledge, we can answer many more questions. Let us discuss those questions in my next period. Okay, thank you for listening the class.